Hello, guys. Welcome to podcast number, whatever number it is.
That's a 7.
So I had my first COVID jab today. It was super fun. So we are talking very topically about illnesses and injuries because we are not depressed.
Well.
So I'm gonna start off because I've had COVID. Yeah. Oh, sorry, my cat's here and he's being very affectionate. I'm not sorry. I love him. Yeah, so I had COVID last March. It's almost my COVID anniversary. There was no way to make that like a COVID-versary. Yeah, it's almost my COVID anniversary. It wasn't my favourite time, not gonna lie. Not gonna be celebrating it. Yeah, I was very, very sick. I was quarantined. My mum had to drop off shopping, like, pretty much every day because I was craving random stuff and I wouldn't eat anything else. Yeah, it was awful. I had a fever. I was pretty much bedridden. I did get out of bed, like, pretty much every day just to do these weird quarantine covers I was doing that were, like, pretty awful. I'm not going to lie.
I don't know.
I could barely breathe and they just weren't my best shot. I mean, they were my best shot. I tried very hard, but I was very like red in the face trying to do them because I was just like dying essentially.
I mean, I've seen worse. Have you seen that Barbie Girl cover?
So yeah, that wasn't my like favorite time of my life. COVID, don't recommend. Don't do COVID.
On the illness rating out of 10, what would you give it?
On what side
like,
is which?
10's like a good virus, like, or an illness, and 0's like the worst.
Like, well, but a good illness suggests that
basically
it's good at its job.
No, as in like, okay, 10 is no illness, 0 is you're probably at death's door.
Oh, right, yeah, okay. Yeah, I feel like it was pretty like somewhere near like 2 or 3. I was pretty ill. Like, what are you doing? Because I have asthma as well, so like, I'm struggling to breathe now. So yeah, there was a point where like I rang 111 and they were like, if this gets any worse, you need to ring back and get some advice, and you might have to like ring an ambulance. What are you doing?
Posing.
So yeah, it was pretty bad, but I survived, so it's fine. But yeah, I don't think either of you got COVID, did you?
Thankfully, no.
Jacob definitely had to isolate at one point.
Yeah, so I had symptoms, and then I feel like I'm gonna have to explain like how annoyingly like work were with it. So I literally called up work and I was like, "Look, I've got COVID symptoms. I'm gonna have to take like some time off to isolate." And they were just like, "No, you'll either have to take it as unpaid or come in." And I was like, well, I'm not going to take it unpaid. So I had to go into work with COVID symptoms. I was at work for maybe 10 minutes before my manager's manager yelled at her, being like, why did you let them come here? And then I got sent home.
Oh, see.
So I could, if I did have COVID, I could have infected the whole building.
Yeah. I had symptoms, and literally as soon as I started coughing, one of the bosses came up to me and went, "Go home, get a test tomorrow, tell us what it is." So I had like 4 days off, and then it was like, "Yeah, you don't have it." It's like, "Okay, well, you have to work from home for a week." I'm like, that's fine. I don't have it, but I'll happily isolate at home.
Yeah, so the band COVID experience was, I'm going to call it, I had it worst.
I think you did. You're the best at moving house. You're the best at getting COVID.
Yeah. The worst part was, though, I had it and definitely like stayed out for a solid like 3 days with COVID. Like, I had this it can't be COVID mentality.
Yeah.
Like, I went to warehouse and I had this fever. There's a picture somewhere and you can totally tell I have a fever. Like, I'm bright red in the face and like I've got Chloe like under my arm and I just look so delirious. Like, I look drunk. I've been sober for like 3.5 years and like I look drunk in that photo. I'm like so red in the face and I'm just like and then like the next day me and Chloe were meant to have like our freshers day at uni and like I couldn't go. Like, I was nearly passing out, so I dropped her off and I went back to bed, and then I went and met her for like the part where you get like info, and yeah, I passed out in Starbucks.
Nice.
Oof.
Fancy place to pass out though.
And then her and Jack like took me home. Well, no, they got me as far as the taxi rank, and I was like, I think I'm just gonna get a taxi. I'm not sure I can walk home. And at that point, that was where I like admitted, oh shit, I might have COVID. And like the day before I'd gone to warehouse as well, I went to college, and I had to be that person who rang the college and was like, yeah, I came in with COVID, and I went to dinner with 12 of my classmates.
That's an ouchie.
So then I had to tell them as well.
So with the taxi, how like was the taxi driver like really awkward with you or anything, or did you manage to hide it?
No, I managed to hide it. I just kind of, because like I just basically had a sleep in Starbucks.
Yeah.
Like, so I got in the taxi and I must have just looked really like faint. But at that point, everything was still open. Like, colleges were still in, like, schools were still in. They were kind of talking about closing them, but, like, everything was still open. Like,
yeah.
So I got in the taxi and I didn't really feel well. But I don't even think I'd started coughing at that point. I just had a fever.
Yeah.
So he got me back, and then I got out and I went straight to bed. And then it was like I woke up and I just felt awful. And I was like basically coughing up a lung. And I was like, oh shit, this is COVID.
Oh no.
Because like I'd been coughing a bit before that, but obviously I'm asthmatic.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is fine. This isn't a problem. Like, my asthma's always bad. Like, pollen is cool, no problem.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what your taxi driver would have been like, because when I got sent home from work, there was 3 of us in the taxi on the way home, and bear in mind that this was like 9:15 in the morning, because we'd literally got to work and been sent home straight away. And the entire way he's like, so have you been sent home because you've got COVID? And we're like, and he's been really like weird with us about it. So we're like, no, we're just we were on the night shift.
Nice.
Tried to blag that. I don't think he believed us.
No. I with COVID as well, when we were still allowed in the band room, we spent a lot of time like disinfecting everything, in and out. We'd go in, we'd disinfect, we'd leave, we'd disinfect, because obviously we share the room with somebody else, and they've got at least one person in their band that's high risk as well. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, well, we're high risk anyway, me and Jacob, so we kind of had that mentality too. And And obviously there was a point where they were saying you could get it twice. So I was like, I already know that I'm like a target. Please leave me alone.
Whoa.
But then they started saying that was like, if you still had it, it could lie dormant and then just like reappear.
Yeah.
So this is why I don't think like the vaccine's going to affect me, because I've already had it and it's been like half a day now since I've had the vaccine, and it's chill. Like even my arm doesn't feel dead anymore. My arm felt dead when I first got it, and my arm feels fine now.
That's just an injection though, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, because like when I've had the flu jab, my arm feels like really heavy for like 2 days, and I have a big bruise where I got it done.
Oh, mine's always fine until I go to bed, and then as soon as I go to bed, I lie on that arm and I wake up and it's dead, and then it's like that for like 3 days.
See, I just do sleep anyway. Just lie on my arm and wake up, it's dead.
No, mine was dead today when I first got it done, and like my hand went really like pins and needly.
Oh no, you just said it and brought attention to the fact that I've got pins and needles right now.
Great. Well done.
But like after maybe 2 hours, it went away. But when I get my flu jab, my arm's dead like all day, potentially like 2 days, and I get a big bruise here, but it's fine. So I think I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah.
I think because like I had COVID like really bad, I really don't think the injection is gonna like affect my body, but we will see.
We'll see.
If I come back later and I'm like, guys, I am so sick.
We'll have half a podcast today.
Ignore everything that I said.
And you know, you have full permission to take the piss unless you're Alan, because
oh right, so thanks. I'll just take the piss out of Jacob.
Then I will be very sad.
Yeah, I'm really sad if you take the piss out of me, Alan.
Well, I don't care about you, Jacob. So
anyway,
in the nicest way.
Moving on from COVID. Any more catastrophic illnesses? Because I had swine flu too.
No, I didn't get that either. Nor bird flu. But
I like to collect them. I want a full collection. Like,
what's next?
If a pandemic comes along, I've got to collect it. I have to have the full set.
Well, if the
I missed out on seeing Papa Roach because of that, and then they didn't tour again for like, I think it was about 6 years or something like that. And I was like, and everyone thought they were going to break up, and I was like,
no, don't do that.
They're like one of my favourite bands.
I think I've avoided any like major illnesses.
I want to die. I'll be right back.
Yeah. He's not allowed on the boxes. And he knows he's not allowed on the boxes. And he constantly, what he's going to do now is when she goes to pick him up, he's going to lean into the wall. Like, no, this is my perch. He'll go anywhere. He'll do it again in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Job's a good un.
He's not a good un. He's a great un, just with a little bit of mischief.
CBA. He's going to come and apologise now.
He is. He just wants more strokes.
Literally what he always does. Yeah, so I had swine flu. It made me miss out on seeing my favourite band. Hi. And I was gutted. And I had to isolate then as well. I had to isolate for 2 weeks then. I couldn't come to school. My mum was the only person allowed to see me. Yes, I know, you're very sorry. And she had to bring me food and everything. And she was like literally the only person I was allowed to see. I was locked in my bedroom. And I had to take these like these like fluorescent yellow tablets that they'd like come up with as like a solution to swine flu. And like all I ate for the full week was like turkey drummers. Because like
that bit doesn't sound too bad, to be honest.
They're like my ill food. That's what I like to eat when I'm ill. And that's like all I could stomach.
He's trying to take off. Thinks he's Dumbo.
And I was just listening to Hollywood Undead had basically become a thing around then.
Yeah.
And like I was just listening to Hollywood Undead and Escape the Fate like constantly. And that's basically what I remember about my time with swine flu. Yeah, what do you want?
He wants to fly. His ears are going a bit mental.
No. Do you want to scratch? Is that your problem?
I guess I've only really been like ill with an illness like that isn't just the flu, like twice, and that's one of them was chicken pox. So you know, that's always fun. I think everyone's probably had chicken pox.
I think I did.
If you didn't, you got a high chance of getting shingles, and apparently they're really painful.
Yeah,
like really painful. So hope that you have.
I think I would have been told if I hadn't had them.
Yeah. And the main thing I remember from chickenpox is being in the home that I grew up in. My mum running a bath of milk, and me sitting in this bath of milk. It was amazing. I loved it. Right. Apparently, this is like meant to really help with like the itching and stuff, and it did. But right, the milk was like warm. I didn't just like get into a bath of like freezing cold milk. I don't know why she bought so much milk because she filled the bath. Like,
that must have been expensive.
Well, this is back in the day when milk was cheap. You used to get it delivered to your door in a little glass bottle.
How many of those would you need?
I don't know, but whilst I was in it, she was still pouring milk in, so who knows?
Stole all the neighbours' milk.
Yeah, my dad actually came up with a cup and like he wanted some for his brew. I'm like, you don't really want this, mate. It's tastes like chicken. But, yeah, no, like that's the main thing I remember from chickenpox is sitting in a bath of milk, and it was wonderful. It was the best bath I've probably ever had. Like next is custard. Does that help with anything? Doesn't really matter, to be honest. I'll do it anyway.
I don't remember like my time with chickenpox. I think the only other like illnesses I've had is just allergic reactions and stuff like that. I think the worst one I had was I had the flu or something like that, and I got put on medication for it, and then I was allergic to the medication, so it made me like 10 times worse. And it took about a month before they figured out that, oh, that's what's causing it.
See, I'm quite thankful of not actually having any known allergies, like unless there's just something out in the world that I've not tried yet that I could be allergic to, like snails or frogs' legs.
That tends to be dangerous though, because a lot of people who don't know their allergies are allergic to things like certain medicines.
Yeah. Well, they always are. They tend to ask you now. The doctor's like, "Are you allergic to this?"
It's usually penicillin's the big one.
Yeah, I'm not allergic to penicillin. Like everything. My mum once thought I was allergic to marshmallows, but that's because I was walking through town with my grandma eating like a kilo bag of them, and then threw up all over my spaghetti. When I got
that was probably just eating too many marshmallows, though, wasn't it?
Marshmallows, but she waggled it for a bit, so I didn't eat marshmallows. But yeah,
I hope. I think the only things I know I'm allergic to is aspartame, and then I can't remember the name of that medication I was on, whatever that was, and then I have hay fever as well. But that's
you might want to find out what that medication was called in case they offer you again.
Yeah, it's dia something. So basically, if I ever get anything that starts with dia, I'll just be like, right, I need to check this first.
I'm allergic to cats.
Yeah, I can tell.
Which is why I take allergy tablets every day. I'm also like really severely allergic to seafood.
Well, shellfish.
Which... Well, yeah, that's what people mean when they say seafood.
Oh, fish is seafood.
They would say fish if they meant fish.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm
just gonna...
I found this out by eating a pizza that was cooked on the same tray as breaded shrimp. And I got a rash over my full body and puked for an entire day. And I didn't even eat the seafood, and the actual shrimp inside barely touched the tray. So, yeah, that was sick.
Literally.
So if I ever actually ate the seafood, I would probably die.
How did you manage to find it out then? Did you like call the restaurant back and be like, or did you cook the pizza?
It was in my own home, yeah.
See, that makes more sense. For some reason in my head, I was like, I just thought it was like a restaurant or something.
Get out!
I don't want to colour.
If I fit, I sit.
The downside for me is I really like scampi. And obviously, I can't eat scampi. Well, I can, but like, not if
you can eat it if we're not going to see each other for multiple days.
Yeah. Then it's fine. So I could eat it today, probably. I'm not. Because I've already got plans for food, but I could. And I guess the only other thing like I've had properly is the mumps. Tonsillitis. I almost forgot about that.
Did you not have the MMR jab as a kid?
Is it? I did. Maybe it's not mumps. It would be tonsillitis then. I've had that, I think, 3 times, but not within the time period of the you've got to have it this many times in a year for us to take your tonsils out.
I had it 5 times, and they told me I had to have it 6. Have them removed.
Yeah, I think it's something like if you have it so many times within a year, or a total of so many times, I guess 6 times, you get them removed. I've still got my tonsils, as far as I'm aware. Unless someone came in the night, like the tonsil fairy, and took them out.
I think I've only had tonsillitis twice. It tends to be quite contagious, I believe.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if anyone else was told this, but because obviously I'm the only one that seems to have a milk bath for chicken pox. But toast and ice cream, not at the same time, it apparently really helps it. I think my mum was just trying to
I've never had it as an adult, so
neither have I. This is my mum again. Maybe she got into healing crystals, but with toast, milk, and ice cream, before it became a big thing.
I once had flu really, really bad. I think I do get things just really bad though, because my immune system's fucked. And obviously people with asthma and other things like diabetes and stuff, they're really at risk, which is why we get the flu jab free.
Yeah.
And I had it so bad once that I was hallucinating that I was a prisoner of war, and it was awful. And I was I ended up sleeping on the couch at the time with my ex-partner because he basically he basically didn't want to let me out of his sight because I was just in this really vivid, constant, state of thinking I was this prisoner of war, and that's why I was ill, and I was locked in these trenches, and it was just really dramatic and really freaky. And my mum rang me at some point and she said I just wasn't making any sense at all. She couldn't get a sensible conversation out of me. Not even for 5 minutes. I was sick for literally about 2.5 weeks. It was really bad. That was I'm gonna hazard a guess at about 3.5 years ago. It was in my last flat, so I do not know. But yeah, that was pretty rough. So, I'm glad I get my flu jab now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So am I. I don't want you thinking I'm the enemy when I come over and just start throwing shit at me, grenade out.
I accidentally stabbed my partner and I'm ha! The enemy has been beaten.
Do you ever find it really awkward when you're getting the flu jab? Because whenever I go, it's always in this church near me on the same day as everyone else who's getting it, but everyone else who's getting it are all elderly, so they all stare at me what's he doing getting it? And it's just really awkward the entire time.
Tell them to mind their own business. Tell them you're a test subject and it's actually not been released yet, and see them run away.
I get mine at my normal doctor's,
Without an audience.
Yeah, literally. Like most people go on the same day, but it's so quick in and out that you don't see anybody else. Like there isn't like a queue. There isn't like really.
I just love it. Like, where's the cat gonna come from next?
You can stay there as long as you stay there. You're not meant to be on the desk. Oh, sorry, Kiara. I just kicked Kiara in the head.
They're everywhere.
She's in Kobe's bed again, even though I bought her a new one.
For a second time.
I know. Yeah, so...
Yes!
So yeah, mine's in my normal doctors, and yeah, I don't have an audience or a judgy crew of old people being like, how dare you?
See, I don't know why mine isn't done at my doctor's. Maybe just the doctor's isn't big enough or suitable or something. But so my doctor's always moves it to a church, to the church, like pretty much next door.
No wonder
maybe they're
so
trying to
judgy.
convert you. Like maybe the whole plan is like if we give him the flu jab in a church, like he'll turn to God.
Oh, this year was the easiest flu jab I've ever had though, because it was like we were told we'd get one through work, and I wasn't contacted from the doctors because obviously with lockdowns and everything. But I walked into the pharmacy to grab something, and I noticed they had a leaflet saying, "Oh, you can get your flu jabs done here." And I was like, "Oh, can I like sort it out to get a flu jab done?" And they were like, "Yeah, come to the back room." I walk in, there you go.
You always can get it at a pharmacy if you're entitled to a free one. You know that, right?
Yeah, I'm doing that from now on. I'm not getting judged anymore.
I'm just going to tell me when you go in,
the doctors.
Get like a group of people and just come stare you down while you're getting it done.
Yeah, like Taylor had never had his before last year. Wait, the year before. And I took him to a pharmacy and I was like, you literally just fill this form in and they'll give you it. Like, as long as you can say I'm asthmatic, they'll be like, yeah, sound, and they'll just jab you.
Yeah,
like,
that was so much easier. I'm doing that from now on, especially considering the pharmacy is literally behind my house.
I'm so sorry I keep kicking you in the head.
No wonder she's special.
I don't have any shoes on, and it's very soft. It's because I keep swinging my chair.
What?
So you're doing it again on purpose this time.
It's because she keeps moving her head.
She might like it.
Yeah, probably. You know what she's like for feet.
Very true, yeah. She'll have an option of my hand or my foot that's like a meter away. And she's like, this foot, this is going to stroke me.
Are you going to stop making a fuss now?
Can we think of any other illnesses that like we may or may not have had? Preferably may have had.
Well, yeah, I can think of a lot of illnesses I haven't had.
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure I can think of illnesses.
No. I can definitely go through a lot of injuries, but illnesses. Jacob, any more for you?
No, not illnesses, injuries. Yeah, like that's where my book comes in.
Yeah, I've had plenty of injuries, but
yes.
Well done, guys.
Thank
Good
you.
meeting. See you
Thanks.
later.
Have a good day. But before we go, let's talk about injuries.
Oh,
Jacob,
speaking of injuries, the dog nearly fell. Right, go on.
It's not really a dog, though, is it? It's a cat. But yeah, injuries. I was a very clumsy little boy. Yeah, that bad. What's he done? Is he just rolling?
He keeps rolling further onto the keyboard.
Look at me, Mum, I can type. But yeah, so I've got a few, but we'll start with I split my chin open a few times. Because where I used to live, there was it was a road cut off by like a pavement island. So you'd have like pavement, a little gap, pavement, little gap, pavement. And I thought I was really cool.
Bye, Jacob.
Jacob didn't.
I was literally watching like, my webcam full screen to try and see something, and then it's just like, nope, bye. Carry on, Alan, before my webcam rudely interrupted you.
So I thought it was really cool if I could like jump between this like foot gap of like two curbs. And one day I was doing it, and Mum was like, if you keep doing that, you're going to fall. And on cue, I fell, cracked my chin open, and got stitches in my chin. The day after, I thought I was really cool if I could jump across this foot gap of either curb. Mum was like, remember what happened last time? And on cue, I fell and split my chin back open. So I got that sorted. The day after, I thought it was really cool if I could go between these two curves about a foot apart. And yeah, it happened for another 2 days on the trot. And I just didn't learn my lesson. And so I was at my grandma's. She got a new door. And I hadn't done it because we'd gone a different way towards my grandma's because my mum was kind of clicking on what the fuck I was doing. And she got a new door. I didn't raise my feet high enough and split my chin open again by falling over a door. So like in the space of a week, I'd been to the same hospital to have the same part of my body re-stitched up because I'm a smart
They must
boy.
have hated you.
I ended up getting you know, like you go to Starbucks and you get a stamp and they give you a discount. Yeah.
Oh god.
Free lollipops, though. It was sick. Great idea.
Legit, the only reason you did
The
it.
only reason I did it was for the lollipop with the sticker. I survived stitches. 2002. Or whenever it was.
So, following on just from that, because I just remembered this, like I'd completely forgotten. When I was little and I'd literally just started school, like I've always been like a little ball of anxiety. And like, I think it was my dad who was near, like my school basically, it has this fence.
Yeah.
And then there's like these concrete steps. I'm sure you can see where this is going.
I can.
Up from the fence. And then there's a path. And then there's a playground. And I'd been sent into this playground, all anxious. And he was down by the fence, watching me attempt to make friends and play. And then I knew he was like leaving. So I went running to like hang on to him. Tripped down the entire set of concrete steps.
Oh.
And bearing in mind, I was like 4. So I was like this big. Like I was tiny. And I knocked like all my front teeth out.
Oof.
Like just handfuls of teeth just fell out of my mouth. And obviously I was bleeding everywhere. Like it was not a good look, but not a very good time either.
No.
Like I just started school and
No, you're not going back.
wasn't my best experience trying to start quite a traumatic time of life for someone who like obviously was like a 4-year-old with bipolar that nobody knew about. Like, oh man.
Just have to yeet yourself down the stairs.
And then when I was like a bit older, I had to have all my back teeth taken out.
Oh.
In like one procedure. And yeah. To be fair, I think that
Oh.
I think that was when my fear of anesthetic actually started.
Yeah.
Because like they tried to give me some, and like I ended up like my mum had to hold me, and I ended up like kicking them like in the face, and it was just really awful. Do you mind? You're being so rude.
Yes.
And they took like I think it was like 12 or 13 of my teeth out, and like yeah.
See, as an adult, I've had a tooth removed, and it wasn't the nicest experience because you hear them cracking as well when they're pulling them out. Obviously, I don't know what it's like for like children's teeth, but even me, I was sat there a little panicky, going, "It sounds like he's pulling on the wrong tooth." It feels like, because obviously everything's numb, it feels like he's going for the wrong one. What happens if he breaks the others? Because I've had to sign a waiver saying if we break them, tough shit. So as a kid, like that must have been horrifying.
Well, obviously, with it being such a big procedure, it was done in hospital. And obviously it was on the children's
really
ward.
Bye, Jacob.
But like, and obviously, as a child, you get put under for it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I was, because of how traumatized I was. They put me to sleep, but yeah, it was awful. I wasn't allowed. I distinctly remember I wasn't allowed to run after the procedure for a significant amount of time because my gums were so fragile. I wasn't allowed to like do exercise, to like run around or to like play. I'm sure it was for like a number of weeks, and it just was awful. Like, I went through some like drastic stuff as a kid.
Yeah, Jacob, did you?
Huh?
Yeah, apparently he hit his head a lot.
No, I thought someone fell over in the background, but I think Jade was just chucking something into a bin.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did you say?
How clumsy were you as a child? Like, how many injuries?
Oh, incredibly. Like, I remember one time, like, this wasn't a major injury, but it just kind of shows the stupidity. I was riding a bike down, like, a really thin alley with, like, full bushes and nettles either side.
Right.
And I got towards the end, and I kind of stopped for a second. And you know, most people, they're on a bike, you stop, you put your feet down.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I stopped and just kind of went, just dropped into the nettle bush. Oof. So that was fun. That just shows the stupidity. Yeah, that was pain.
Ow.
But yeah, in terms of like injuries, I have so many. Like, I wouldn't know where to start.
I just chose one that I remembered.
Well,
I've got a few more, but
yeah, you reminded me of one. So I was at the BMX tracks near London Road, for you guys knowing where it would be.
Yeah.
With a couple of friends. So I rode my bike out of there, and my two friends were on their bikes. And I was like, oh, that gap between the two bikes is perfect for my bike to fit into. So I tried to like kind of park between them both. My pedals hit their pedals, and I went flying over the handlebars. And I went all the way down the hill on London Road, shredded my arms completely, my face. Like my arm, I'm pretty sure you could see my bone in my arms. And then I had to ride home like that. Like, I kind of just did like I'm a big boy, that didn't hurt. So like everyone was like, oh my God, are you okay? I was just like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm just going to go home now. And then I like cried the entire way home. Yeah, that was very, very painful. I think that took a long time to heal.
Sounds it. The only injuries I ever got from like skating, biking was when I had a Razor scooter and it hit my ankles. So that was painful enough.
Oh, I've got ankles of steel now from that.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it again on purpose, but I reckon I wouldn't feel it anymore.
Yeah, you kind of get to a point where, like, stop feeling that.
You go back in, you've chopped one of your feet off. Your mum's like, "You had a good day." I'm like, yeah.
I'm walking a bit wobbly though. I don't know why.
Turn into a pirate, get a little wooden peg.
Yeah. I mean, have I told the story on the podcast yet of how I broke my ribs? Not ribs, hip. Ribs is another one.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
How I broke it at Iron Maiden.
So maybe.
I feel like I might have brought that up in the.
Like, yeah, I think you did.
Yeah. So
like, smashed it on a barrier.
Yeah. Okay. So that's.
You might as well tell it again.
Yeah,
I'll tell the short version this time.
Yeah.
But so I was at Iron Maiden with my dad, and then he started on someone, decided to go for a beer. So then the guy decided to start on me. He punched me and like really winded me, and because of obviously all the people coming in and my asthma and everything, I was like, no, I'm out. So I start getting crowd surfed out, and the guy at the barriers just turned around watching the gig, so I just get dropped onto the barrier and break my hip.
We've got a guest.
Got a guest coming in.
He's not here yet. He's got no audio.
A new challenger is approaching.
Is he here?
I think so. Maybe.
I can just see him staring me down from this still, innit?
Ollie? Oh my God, ow!
Oh, he's connecting audio again. Oh.
Well, that hurt.
Did it work?
He's muted, but It looks like he's here, maybe.
Hello.
He's done it.
Hey!
Why is it telling me that you're 33 frames per second?
He's fancy.
Hello.
There he is.
Hi!
Damn. Brick wall.
Yeah, I'm chilling. You can have a window if you want.
Oh, I'd rather have the wall, mate. It's a bit bright.
So, we're talking about injuries that we've had.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about your back? And how you did it?
Broke through 3 stories of abandoned building.
Oh, nice.
Landed on the floor in the basement on my back. And
So,
then
yeah.
walked home, left it for a year and a half, went to hospital with really severe back pain and found out that I'd broken my back a year and a half earlier.
Made a steal, this kid.
Apparently I'm indestructible.
Don't do it again. I don't want you proving.
I'm not planning on doing it again. It's not pleasant.
Maybe 4 stories this time if you want to give yourself a challenge.
Yeah, so there's only Ollie that would just like walk about with a broken back for like a year and a half and not do anything about it. Like, just chilling.
Yeah.
It's all good. No worries.
It's all
Yeah,
nice, man. Isn't it? Shit happens.
So obviously, I feel like we kind of took over Jacob's story, but they already know what happened. So.
Well, there was an extra bit which I didn't mention last time, which I was going to mention.
Okay, go.
Which was, so about 5 weeks later, so just before it had finished healing,
Yeah.
I went on this thing called the challenge, which was like,
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember.
yeah, so it basically was, you went and did loads of adventure stuff in between high school and college. So I hiked up a mountain in Wales with a broken hip.
Was it Snowdon by any chance?
I think it might have been.
It's the only one I can think of in Wales.
Possibly. But yeah, so I did that and I didn't re-break it, but I ended up giving myself, like, I think it's called bursitis, which is basically if you aggravate something so badly to the point of it just, like, being fucked. So I did that to my hip and made it even worse. And then I spent the rest of the challenge on crutches when I'd just come off them.
Well, the explanation sounds very kinky.
Well,
Oh, right, yeah, because bursitis is technically housemaid's knee. It's mostly found in the knees.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was like, what?
I'm assuming that's what Alan meant.
No, I just meant aggravate something so it gets fucked.
Oh, okay. I thought you'd literally like Googled it because it's the like
I couldn't spell
slang
that.
term for it is housemaid's knee.
Oh. No,
So,
I can't.
That's why when you said kinky, I was like, oh, he's read that. But no, I guess not.
No. Yes, I'm very smart. Big,
Oh no, I thought you'd Googled it on the spot. Not that you were
big,
smart.
big
Come on.
brain IQ. So I also smashed my head open a few times.
I've done that loads of times.
I don't remember most of the occasions, but after I think it was this side healed, I was playing football in primary school. Thought I could be like the next pro player, and wanted to, you just flick the ball behind you, like something nice and simple. I thought you had to stand on the football to do it, so I balanced one-footed on this slightly flat football, and there's like a concrete wall followed by like an angled bar fence in my old primary school. It's changed now. And then I ended up smashing this side of my head open, kind of black out for a second, come to, touch my head, see blood, go see like the nurse. She's panicking because it's like, what the fuck's going on with this kid's head? Mum picks me up, goes to hospital, and it starts to heal in the shape of a horse. But I didn't.
Nice.
Yeah. So like that was my I was a cool kid for like 2 weeks while it was a horse. I had a horse on my head.
Well, speaking, we're ignoring that. Speaking of smashing your head open, now that Ollie's here,
He's going.
let's talk about the time that Ollie pulled me off the kitchen side when I was a little girl by my ankle because he'd asked me to get the biscuit tin out from the top cupboards.
Yeah.
And he was impatient, so as soon as I got hold of it, he grabbed me by the ankle and pulled me down and I fell on my head, smashed it open, got a concussion, and had to be taken to the hospital when I was like 5, 6 years old.
Ooh.
And I was like puking up out of the car windows all the way to the hospital, and always just this like chilling little toddler with his biscuits.
I was going to say, did he get his biscuits?
Like,
Did I get the biscuits in the end or not?
yeah, you did. Because you just took him while I'm lying there with my head smashed up.
Got priorities sorted there, hasn't he?
Like, Mummy, Sally's been injured. Mummy, Sally's bleeding.
I don't know. I don't actually know. I couldn't count how many times I've cracked my head open.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
lost
Enough
count. Like,
fingers.
it's been that many. I've lost a lot of memories from it.
I mean, I've got a huge scar right across the front of my head here. From when I was in high school, I jumped off a chair. I ran and jumped off a chair and hit my head on a low hanging beam.
Ooh.
So I clotheslined myself by my forehead, landed on my back on the floor, and then I jumped up. And my mate was like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. He's like, "No, are you all right?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "You've got loads of blood coming out your head." And then I felt all this wet just coming down my face.
Oh.
Right? And I brushed my hand on my face, and I looked at my hand, and it was just red. And then I looked down, and there's blood just dripping off me and everything. And then I got down to like the teacher's office downstairs where the teachers were, and I'm kind of like, "Yeah, I fell over." I'm fairly sure my stepdad got called. They took me to hospital and they had to glue my head back together.
Nice.
I got a day off school though.
Yeah, I bet.
I feel like smash my head open is the one thing I haven't done.
We can change that.
So,
And the rest of them I was drunk.
Yeah.
I almost had my
I
eye
don't think
poked
I
out.
have like that many drunk injury stories. I cracked my front tooth when I was drunk. Like I was threatening some guy with my beer bottle, and then I really
Yes.
and then I literally went to drink from the same beer bottle, and it chipped my tooth.
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh wow, Sally, you're so hard, aren't you? Like, fucking dickhead." But I don't think like I ever, or if I got into many fights while I was drunk, I don't remember them.
I think I have like one drunken injury I can remember, and it was completely my own fault, as most are when you're drunk. But we drank like a full 4-litre bottle of Frosty Jacks and we were just on a park. And I thought, you know what, I feel really tough today. See how hard you can hit me, to my mate.
Oh.
So he hit me,
You're
and I
so
went,
idiot.
so he hit me, and I went, couldn't feel it, try harder. He hit me again. I went to the floor. I was like fully unconscious, but while unconscious, just go,
See, I didn't really think about underage drunken injuries. I bet I had a lot of like fall over injuries from when I was drinking outside underage.
Yeah.
But I don't remember those. That was too long ago.
I mean, I was definitely of age when I did that injury. Definitely.
The only ones I ever got when drunk was misjudging how low something was, lifting my head up and twatting my head up.
Oh, I do that all the time anyway,
I do that
regardless.
sober. But when I was a kid, I almost had my eye poked out by a snooker cue. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, thanks for the sympathy. Fucking hell. So what's really good, like the good side of it is I was really into a Scooby-Doo film with Moonscar Island and stuff, and Captain Moonscar, I think it's Zombie Island or something, and obviously he had a moon-shaped scar over his eye. So I was going around to see a friends with my older stepbrother and like just an old friend that I used to know, and they started bullying me in essence, and I ended up under the pool table, snooker table, and they were there whacking these cues back and forth, and one of them got me right in the eye. I burst out into tears, obviously, because I'm a kid, and it fucking hurt. I'd probably burst into tears now if someone tried poking my eye out with a snooker cue. Get taken to hospital, and they said, well, we can't glue it because, like, I ended up waiting there for like 2 hours. We can't do anything with it because it's not close to the eye. If we glue it, there's a chance the glue will go into the eye and blind you. But the upside to it is I thought I was Captain Moonscar because it was in the shape of a moon, and I was like, I'm cool. I am Scooby-Doo's going to come get me. I'm going to go on mystical adventures, and boom, we're done. Maybe meet the Hex Girls from a completely different film.
That was the best film, though.
No.
I once stood on a nail in my dad's back garden, a 9-inch nail, and then walked into the kitchen and pulled it out in front of my dad and my mum, and they were like, "What are you doing?"
Always traumatized by this.
What do you mean?
Ollie stood on the bottom of a glass bottle.
Oh.
So a smashed up, we're like one and the same. There was a smashed glass bottle, and you know when the bottom of it stays intact with like the glass. He stood on that in like flexible trainers, and it went into his foot.
Ooh.
And he came home and pulled it out, and they were like,
"Why do our children keep doing this?"
And like obviously with me they were a bit like, oh my god, but it didn't really go through anything like dangerous, so they just kind of bandaged it up. With Ollie, he had to go to hospital.
Oh yeah, because if you know we got glass stuck in your head. I ended up with glass stuck in my hand for almost a year, but luckily it pushed up like a year later and brought itself out, so quite lucky there, because I didn't realise it was there.
Me and Ollie were like menaces as kids, like you couldn't trust us at all. We'd come back with like all the injuries under the sun.
Hide the spoons as well as the sharp knives.
Like we would literally just shrug it off. We'd be like,
yeah,
now it's gone.
That was literally me with most injuries. Like when I would break things all the time. I remember the first time I broke like 2 fingers. I was just playing football with some friends. And then I was in goal, so I went to pick up the ball, and so I went to kick it at the same time, so they kicked my hand. So I was just like, ow, that hurt. Carried on playing for like 3 hours. And at the end, I took the goalkeeper glove off, and it was just purple. So I went to hospital, and they were like, yeah, it's broken, you can't play football for 6 weeks. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. So 6 weeks go by, and I finally get back into football, and I'm like, yes, let's go. Give me the goalkeeper gloves. I'm going back in goal. Literally like half an hour later, someone had a shot, and I went to stop it, and the ball hit my hand against the crossbar and re-broke the finger. So that was my first break.
Every finger in every door imaginable.
I've broken pretty much every bone in my body, mate.
Yeah.
I've only ever broken one bone, and it's my little toe, so it don't really count. And it only happened because I had diarrhea and tried running to the toilet and broke it on the sink. Like, to be clear, it wasn't just like a normal sink; it had a box around it, like kind of thing, like a cupboard without a door. And the toilet was like there, and then this box kind of went there. And as I ran to the toilet, like literally full speed, caught it on the corner, and my toe just kind of went that way. Like without the rest of them.
So I feel like Ollie and possibly Sally would be the same as me now. Like you get to a point where you break things enough that you know instantly whether it's broken or not.
Yeah.
I've just stopped doing stupid shit. Well, no, I'd like to say stop doing stupid shit.
You say this.
I haven't broken anything in like 4 years, 5 years, so I'm doing all right. I'm on a good run.
Not bad.
To be fair, I'm pretty good at not breaking things. Like I broke my wrist as a kid. I don't think it was my full arm, and that was ice skating.
I'm sick at ice skating.
I'm awful. I have to go around the edge.
I'm not too bad now, like, but as a kid, it was the first time I ever went, and I broke my wrist, and I was like, I'm never doing that again. And then the second time I went, when I was much older, I got a concussion. And I was like, are you joking? Never doing that again.
I mean, I could definitely top you breaking a wrist. Like, I could definitely top you with the weirdest way to break a wrist. Well, not weirdest, stupidest.
Were you doing like the Batman?
No, so my friend was spinning around with a pogo stick in his hands, and like he wasn't going to hit me at all. And just by reflex, I just went, stuck my hand out, so the pogo stick smashed my wrist, smacked into my wrist and just broke it. But I'm pretty sure that's when I had to have like a cast. And had like the full fiberglass cast.
Yeah, I had a cast as well. It's like if you break something, you have a cast, Jacob.
No. So most of the time, if you just break fingers or something like that, they just wrap it up. Like they just wrap 2 fingers together.
Fingers, but if you break,
If you roll it, you break your back and go for a 3-mile jog.
When I was younger as well, and I used to chill in town, I was skating, and I jumped a stair skate on my skateboard, landed, broke my ankle, and walked to hospital.
Yeah, like that. I think because when I've broken my, I think it wasn't my wrist the other time. It was like there on my thumb or something. So I nearly broke my wrist the second time. I think it was my thumb. So I didn't have a cast for that one. The only time I've had a cast was the time I broke my wrist.
You want to talk about stupid injuries, Jacob? I bet I can top that.
Go on.
So I tore the ligament in my leg, right, when I was in primary school. And the way I did it, and where my mum found me, and where I tried to have my friends sworn to secrecy about what happened, but someone grasped, right, was in the front garden of a girl around the corner. She was called Hayley. And I don't know what the fuck we were trying to do. Well, no, I know what we were trying to do. I don't know why we were trying to do it. Is I was climbing the tree in her front garden with a bike, and the bike fell on my leg as I fell out of the tree and tore the ligament in my leg.
Ouch.
I remember when I was younger, I felt, not even when I was younger actually, it was probably one of the last breaks I had. I fell off my BMX, flipped over, slammed my ribs on the pedal and broke like 3 of my ribs.
Oh.
Yeah, literally, it's so painful. But like, I was on crutches for like 8
Ever.
With that. Like, and they wouldn't let me go to school on them. Other schools, they let kids go to school on their crutches. At mine, they wouldn't let me go, and I was like...
Probably because you fell down the stairs when you were younger, and they're like, we can't trust her to stand on her own 2 feet.
Probably, do you know what? That was probably it. I bet that was it. But like, yeah, everyone who was there, I was like, don't tell her what we were doing. Do not tell her I was up that tree with a bike. Tell her I fell off the bike. and everyone was like, okay, we can't. And then one person grasped.
Do you remember when Josh fell through the living room table?
I forgot. Oh my god. My mum used to have a glass living room table, and for some reason she had Josh stood on it. I can only
hanging the mirror up with the naked people on it.
I forgot about that mirror. She had a mirror, and it had this like gold edging that had really
African naked women on it.
African naked ladies around it, and she was getting my friend Josh to hang it up. I don't know why he was doing it.
No, it was both of us. I was stood on one side, he was stood on the other, and he fell through the table. I didn't.
And he just fell through the glass table. It was fucking so spectacular. Prone, though. He rode a bike down the slide on the park and broke his wrist, and we had to lie for him about what he'd been doing. We were like, he was riding down a hill.
Well, it's nice to have Ollie in for a bit.
Yeah, very unexpected.
Very, but nicely done. So I can only think of one more like major injury that I ever had, which was as an adult, I guess. I was working like in a different building to where I am now, but we had like a football thing that we'd do up at one of the uni football grounds. It was like £2 a week from everyone, and we could pay for it. So one week I ended up stretching too far for the football and ended up pulling my groin. So I had a groin injury. It was painful to sit down, to stand up, like do anything. Week after, I couldn't feel the pain anymore, but like I found it difficult to like jog. But I was like, you know what, I could play football again. I ended up on the floor in pain because it was still there. Sally's gone this time.
Sally's pulled a Jacob.
That's it.
Why?
Why is it when the camera goes, all of a sudden decides to tell me what your FPS is?
Move.
Well, this blank screen is currently 28 FPS. Wow.
Nice.
That's not like how it's gone full screen for me. Riveting stuff. Oh,
Oh, that's bright.
Yeah, that blinded me a bit then.
Yeah, ended up. Oh, we've lost sound again. We don't have to hear it. Know what that was.
I felt the pain in that one.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Kobe unplugged both my light and my webcam.
What a guy. But yeah, so I ended up re-pulling my groin again like a week later, and yeah, I found it very difficult to do anything with my life. Luckily, I was single at the time, so didn't have to worry about that. That's me, I guess. Unless anything like drugs my damaged brain memory, that's me done for injuries.
I feel like most of us have had like those recurring injuries. We'll do something and then we'll just do it again.
Yes.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't think I have like anything that I like do on repeat.
Burn
necessarily.
yourself and pour in your hot water bottle. Okay.
I've only done it like twice.
It was my turn yesterday.
Like you've done it twice as well, so you can't really say anything.
No, I'm happy to say that I do that on repeat now.
Mine was at least a significant time apart. Although I did burn myself on... Yeah, okay, to be fair, I burn myself a lot. I can't be trusted in the kitchen. I burn myself all the time. I should be banned from the kitchen, basically. Like, I can't put my hand in the oven without, like, touching the shelf. My knee, like, is a bit dodgy from all my years of dancing. Every so often it likes to just cripple me. And quite often, I mean, I don't really carry a knee support anymore because I like to think it's a problem solved. And then it just hits me at the worst times. And I'm like, oh, we're in the middle of the range. What am I supposed to do now? And I'm just kind of sat on some random garden chairs in the range trying to just massage it back into place and be like, please. Kobe split my lip open a couple times, especially in the vets.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'll be holding him up against me so they can stick a thermometer up his bum, and he'll just kangaroo kick with his back leg and be like, whack.
I mean, I think I would too, to be honest.
And I'm like, do you know what? I'll accept it. I would feel that way too. But there've been other times too. Every so often, Kobe will just split my lip, and I'm like, you are my therapy cat, and with all the trauma I put you through, I will take this one on the chin. or on the lip, as the case may be. Yeah. I broke my nose at Slam Dunk. Nice. Some guy crowd surfed to Newfound Glory of all bands. I broke my nose. I was at barrier. He landed on my head. Why did I do that?
Another one for the injury list.
He like landed on my head. My head smashed the barrier. And there was blood like pouring out my nose.
So it's quite Newfound Glory then.
That was the third time I broke my nose, and the guards were like, "Do you want to come out?" And I was like, "No, I'll just like clean it off. It's fine." The second time I broke my nose, how did I break it for the second time? I can't even remember. You know, I know the first time I did it, I ran straight into Matt Lishman head first. Like, I'm still friends with him now, so I'm not that fussed, but like we've been lifelong friends. And like in primary school, we obviously used to play together, and we literally ran full speed into each other head first.
Ouch.
And it broke my nose. This is why I have so many bumps on my nose. It's like my most attractive feature, I know. And then the second time I broke it, I genuinely can't remember. But it clearly I assume it was something that probably gave me some sort of concussion as well, because like,
yeah,
it's gone. Like,
your nose hasn't.
No, my nose is very prominent because I keep breaking it.
Mine's just prominent.
Speaking of concussions, I think when I was a kid, most times I would go to a gig, I'd end up with some form of concussion by the end of it. I think a couple that I can remember. One was I got drop kicked. I think that was when I went to see Murder Dolls. Someone drop kicked me in the middle of a pit, and then I just remember like kind of having to come back after that and like stand far away, but I didn't leave. Obviously, I was just like, right, I won't pit anymore. God.
Oh, if only he had stayed, he could have filled like a full segment with his pit injuries.
Yeah. Well, and then there was one where it was kind of like yours, where crowd surfers, but it was slightly different. It was. You okay?
I had an accident with my cup.
It's meant to be a no-spill cup.
It just poured out the straw, and now I'm all wet. I got Coke all up my sleeves.
Do you want to run and get some kitchen roll? Or... No.
I'm just gonna take it off. Oh, I think it went all over my bracelets.
Oh.
Why am I such a mess? Don't answer that.
It's a nice t-shirt, though.
Thanks. My boyfriend bought it for me.
Got good taste. I mean, I think it's the wrong one, but it's good. God, I was so proud of myself, but that's getting off topic.
Carry on.
But yeah, it was like yours with the crowd surfing one, except it wasn't one, because you know, for some reason, some people when crowd surfers go over them, they just throw them.
Yes.
I was the landing pad.
Nice.
So I was there. I got hit a couple of times by crowd surfers, and I was like, "Where are they coming from? Like, what's going on?" And I was like, "Right, that's it. Right, one more crowd surfer, and I'll move from here." And that last crowd surfer booted me full on in the back of the head.
Ooh.
It just knocked me out. And I remember like coming to, and I was kind of sat just. So I'm assuming you've both been to Manchester Academy at some point.
Yeah.
So you know the entrance bit opposite the bar.
Mm-hmm.
I was just kind of like, I remember waking up like just led against that. So I was like, I'll stay here for the rest of the gig. This is fine. I think that was when I went to see Avenged Sevenfold and Stone Sour. So I missed most of Stone Sour because of it. But it was all good. I could still hear them. I was kind of in a daze for the rest of that. And then I think most of my other injuries are like just kind of throwbacks in terms of like, I don't know the first time I did it, but my arm will often just come out of place. And my jaw will often come out of place. Jaw's the most annoying one because that hurts the most.
Yeah.
But it's also really awkward situations. Like the last time I remember it really happening, I was in the cinema and I opened my mouth to eat a hot dog and I opened it too wide. And jaw just fully came out and just screamed.
Turns out you're watching a horror. There's some kid there, never seen a horror before. You turn around, he's like, "No, it's real."
Because I with my shoulder especially, I remember it coming out when I was drumming. Like it came out mid one band practice. I had to run into the door to get it back in.
God, I wish we had that on camera. Just like 1 sec, guys. Oof.
Yeah,
all right.
There's the amount of times like I've done it bowling before. Where I was bowling, I just swing the ball, and as I throw the ball, it just goes gunk. Gunk. And I'm like, oh, for God's sake. And then I bowl with my left hand for the rest of the day.
Is it about time to say I want to go bowling?
I do.
We're all going bowling after this, aren't we?
Yeah.
Why?
And then I think one of the ones was... Oh, yeah, the download one year, I was just carrying like a wheelbarrow full of stuff. And I went over a bump, and as it came back down from the bump, my arm came out of place. So then trying to walk around with all the stuff, like, because it was like the first day getting there with all our gear. So yeah, that wasn't fun. I don't think my arm had recovered by the end of it either. and that one left a big scar for a while. I think the scar started to fade a bit now, but for like, I think it was a year after that, I just had a massive scar on the top of my shoulder. So that was fun. But I don't know how any of those started. I don't know the first time it happened. Yeah, they happen occasionally.
All right, well,
But
I'm out of ideas.
Yeah, I feel like I'm out of injuries. And I need to have a few more.
I feel like it's one of those things where there's always more, but you kind of have to be nudged to remember them. Like if you hear someone else talk about them, you remember. And I'm not gonna like sit here and be like,
Yeah.
like this
either
is
I can't think of them, or they aren't significant.
Naturally comes to an end. So,
how injured were you as a child or an adult, or both at the same time? Could you tell us of your injuries and illnesses that you're like happy to share in the comments, and or tweet them at us at 20?
Yeah, tell us like your sickest injury and how you dealt with it.
20YTL Music on Twitter, on YouTube, on the Facebook. I was almost going to say Vimeo, but it's not. It's TikTok.
If you have gory pictures or videos, as long as it's PG, we want to see.
Send them to us on Discord. You can find the link below.
Discord is the place for it.
That's it. Make sure you spoil warn it though, and give a nice little kind of mark saying this is gory, because like
and we want to know the story. Don't just send it without the story.
So just ends it in their arms backwards.
Whose is it? Don't know. What happened? Couldn't tell you.
Anyways, we are going now because we're gonna get food, I assume.
Yes.
I
can't wait.
That's what I'm doing anyway, and I'm gonna try once again to get my uni work done. But if I can't get on the site, then not my problem, and I'm just gonna go to bed or pretend I'm going to bed and play games because that's what I do. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go make homemade pizzas. Bye, guys.
See you later.